Hello. Right, Mick, beyond belief. Yes, I'm very well, thank you. Same to you. Malky Hendry, create belief, Pied Piper, illicit virtue, along with the truth. One man, his detector. Yes, nice and quiet, way I like it. Gordon Houston, how you doing? Paul Gibbon. Pandemonium, hello, no story now. Sick. Douglas Costa, hello. Maggie M, hello. Swiggle. Yes there, are you happy to see me? Have you missed me? Right, where is it? It's jumped. Sorry I've missed you out here. World Without Curve, YouTube, S Forge, Astrolux, Mohammed, Eden, that's that says, Callum Jackson, Shermaine Gordon, Just Barry, good to see you too. Lend me a tenner. Freedom awaits. All good, thank you, same to yourself. King Ian Moore, official. Selling alien, shaved or unshaved? Are you telling me that you got a Christmas present? Did you get a Manscaped for your Christmas? Yeah? And you're running about with smooth balls. The ball bags we're going to speak about today are anything but smooth. Very rough. Merry Christmas and all that. Is it stormy over there? It's the wind's picking up. It's horrendous weather. I'm noticing that in a few places. I was talking to Andrew, Execrate 200. Obviously they're in summer now. And it's just overcast and raining the majority of the time. You know, here, I don't know about anywhere else, but I've seen the sun once in the last month and a half, and I've seen it for about 2 minutes, and that was yesterday. And it was quite warm, to be honest, in the sunlight. It's absolutely horrendous. I'm going to keep track of it. When we get to the 1st of January, I'm going to keep a note of how many days we actually see the sun and how many days we get that are dry. There was I probably missed a lot out. YouTube, Mohammed, Callum Jackson, Shermaine, Just Barry, you know, Waits, King Ian Moore, Selling Alien. Right, I've been here, what's going on? Augustus, Neil McCrobb, Intrepid Dreams from Philadelphia. Oops. Rickus Vaticus, hello. David Hodgkinson, Phil Jones, Robbie Wright, Chaz, A.K. Zach, Sudo Idealand, hello mate. I'm very well. Catch up with you soon. Yes, Shermaine, that was, I was in two minds this afternoon. Hello Nick, I've seen you for a while mate. I was just in the shower there, I was listening to your Is Flat Earth a Cult? I only go, where did I get to? I'm only at 17 minutes of that video. Something we hear quite a lot. Cult. As I've pointed out before, all culture, cult, it's a clues in the title. You know, every human being right now is part of a cult. I don't know how many times I have to say this, and it's so obvious. You know, people do not know where they are, why they're here, but they buy into all sorts of levels of ideas and concepts of living, social interaction, relationships, and none of these things that people are participating in are founded upon anything objectively true. They are subjective whims and impulsive indulgences, right? Brought about by circumstances and events nothing that is really true to themselves. The majority of people are being influenced into a particular mind state and opting for particular choices and narratives of their life given to them by pre-existing, proponents of ideas and concepts. The whole world and everybody in it right now is in a cult. A cult's not something that people just go and sign up for, like Scientology or any other kind of institution. This is where people miss it. They point the finger and say, there's the cult, there's a cult over there. Scientology, yeah, cult. The whole world is a cult. It is in a delusional, hypnotic trance. And it's so infuriating and frustrating for me because people do not ask the fundamental question. As I use the analogy, and this is going to be part of the upcoming, street stuff, asking people just to, imagine for a minute the scenario of being blindfolded, having no memory, and being taken blindfolded to an area and being let loose in that area. Now you have to ask the individual, what's going through your mind? What questions are you going to be asking yourself? What is imperative to you? What's important to you? Fair enough, there might be aspects where I need to find something to eat and shelter and blah blah blah. I'm not talking about the immediate necessities of sustaining your life. I'm talking about the bigger picture. The first question people have to ask themselves is, where am I here? And I need to establish where I am before I can go any further. Fair enough, you can identify your own being, what you like, what you don't like. There's an inward journey there, but that inward journey is only to discover your subjectivity. The outward journey is where you're going to establish objectivity and get closer to comprehending where you are and what you're a part of. And if you don't have the answers to where you are and what you're a part of, then you're stuck in a maze, going round and round in circles, convincing yourself that your life has this meaning because other people are doing it, other people participate. I have confirmation bias because I am now involved with others who are just as deluded as I am in their delusional beliefs. So the whole world's a fucking cult. And there's subdivisions of that massive cult, little pockets of cult within a cult. I would just call them delusions within delusions. Potato, potato. Matters not. So, I was on undecided on what I was going to do today. There's a couple of videos here. One of the videos is Fight the Flat Earth with Professor Dave. Now, it's an hour long. I don't really have the endurance to suffer these people. And again, I want to be very clear. I am not a proponent of creating a division. I never have been. Right? But this pantomime on social medias and YouTubes is just full of these types of characters. And if you don't have a resistance, if you don't have, anybody talking up and speaking, again, I'm going to digress here. I don't even know. I've been thinking recently, who actually sees any of this stuff? Do the people that come here, they've heard all this before? Am I wasting my time? Am I repeating the same thing to people that have already heard it? Again, I don't really give too much again, I'm going to digress here. I don't even know. I've been thinking recently, who actually sees any of this stuff? Do the people that come here, they've heard all this before? Am I wasting my time? Am I repeating the same thing to people that have already heard it? Again, I don't really give too much attention to that, because at the end of the day, if I press this button, I'm doing it for myself because I feel like it. But at the same time, I wonder, where does this reach? And are people actually comprehending what is going on? You know, the globe earth is a total lunacy. So, I'm not an advocate. I've continually asked for this. This is an objective inquiry. Okay? And the standards have to be direct experience, direct measure, practical demonstration. We're talking about the real world. And anybody that's making claims about that must fit that criteria. As far as I'm concerned, you can have your own standards. Like one of the videos I'm going to show you, your standard might be that if you see a picture on your TV, that's enough for you. You know? So I continually invite and encourage and hope, although that hope is dwindling by the day, that these people are going to display some integrity, some honesty, and you know, maybe there would be progression with us. But again, the intention from these people and anybody involved, the majority of people, is not to have progress with this topic. Because if we have progress with this topic, there's real issues for the powers that be. Right? The main mechanisms of control, the psychological control and the physical restrictions that are put upon you should be clear and obvious right now. If you are still lending yourself to some idiotic notion about why that's being done, then you're beyond reasoning. Right? The reason that it's being done is to restrict you physically and subjectively, so that you don't progress internally and outwardly. The stories are there, they've been offered to you. This is where you are. This is what life is. This is your role within life. This is what's expected of you. Now you have a choice of the options that we have given you in order to live a fulfilling life. Yet the majority of people don't live a fulfilled life. People may have elaborate distractions and feel a sense of fulfillment because they've had excitement and activity in their life. That doesn't interest me. I have no attachment to this reality whatsoever. I've stated it so many times before. To me, this is an abomination. This is a temporary, faulty and flawed tech. This tech requires its self-devour in order to sustain. Everything here within this realm, this reality, must sustain itself. That entails that one thing must consume another thing. This is not a glorious technology. This is not something to be proud of or to revere or to hold dear to your heart. These mantras that have been fed to you through your life, life's precious. Like life, what do they mean? What do you mean life's what life's precious? Giving you this idea that you've somehow to cling to this and revere it and take it into your heart and love it. Mother Earth and all this fucking new age gibberish bullshit. All under the assumption that you know where you are and it's all Mother Earth and it's all good and, or it's a God and it's all lovely. I have digressed to the point of I do not know what point I was making. The point I was making, getting back to the topic, I'm not interested in these people who want to perpetuate a dichotomy like Professor Dave or Fight the Flat Earth or any of these people. I view them as jesters to the crown. Right? Jesters to the crown. They're incapable of addressing their own fundamental biases and engaging in any form of honest discussion to address those fundamental biases. They run and avoid their own beliefs. The method that they use is to outwardly project onto others. If they can identify a strawman enemy and elevate that strawman enemy, it gives them a feeling of realness to their beliefs. It reaffirms their beliefs because now they've got an opposition. But they're the ones that have created that. People like me who are just realists, I never came at this professing the earth was flat and here's what a flat earth is or any of that stuff. I came into this as a globe earth believer. Blind believer, the same as the majority of the populace. And I started to address my own beliefs. And when I started to address my own beliefs objectively and without bias, I could no longer maintain that belief. Far too many anomalies, far too many contradictions. Nothing that satisfies my criteria of direct experience, direct measure or practical demonstration. So these people are part of, within the bigger cult, a subdivision. They are cult-minded people who are invested in a particular bias. And deep down they know that they're invested in that bias. None of these people deep down actually believe the shit that they're spouting. If they do, I would have to term them as absolutely insane. Dangerously insane. So I do not expect from any of these people, the reason that I'm doing these things is not because I expect any change from them or any concession or any of that stuff. It's just to be consistent and to have a presence and to continually point the fingers at their absurdities, their assumptions. Know them as people. They're the ones that want to focus on us as people. They have to elevate us to a position that they can try and demean and attack, because it's a projection from them, because they know they're weak and that they follow pseudoscience and idiotic beliefs, but they have to project that outwardly and blame other people for that because they're not strong enough to take responsibility for their own bias. So I don't expect any concessions or to change any of these people's minds. That's never my goal. My goal is to address their assumptions, the claims they're making, to look for the inconsistencies, to look for the fallacies that they invoke, so that maybe the honest, genuine people out there can learn something and get themselves equipped. Because these things that I point out are prevalent in all walks of life, from your immediate family to politicians to governments to, science. The use of fallacious reasoning and dishonesty is absolutely rife. This whole cult is founded upon corruption, and the proponents of that cult are corrupt individuals. You have to be a sellout to propagate and promote these barefaced fucking idiotic lies. What's different? They would point the finger and say, flare fear. I'm just an honest guy. I believed in the globe for the majority of my life. Now I don't believe in the globe, and I have good reason. You don't have any good reason for maintaining your belief. The reason I know that is because I addressed those same beliefs within myself. So, have you ever heard that saying, you cannot kid a kid who has kidded millions? I have been the delusional, narcissistic, kid who tries to delude himself and feed a false ego. So none of these people have anything special. I see right through them because I see right through my own ways. So I'm only going to highlight the content that they offer. I do not know these people. I would hazard a guess and say that, you know, on a personal level, I would never trust them as far as I could throw them. And the majority of these pipsqueaks I could throw quite far. So I'm granting them a bit of leeway. On a side note, I'm going to take a photograph of it. Dan, if you're still there, you will have seen this. Somebody has spray painted a brilliant piece of artwork on a wall close to the RAH here in Paisley, and it says, "Is this your dad?" And it's a face with a mask on, and underneath it just says, "What a wimp." Fucking brilliant. I was buckled when I seen that. So if you're here and you hear me, fucking good on you. Because these people, men, running about with little fucking face nappies on and kowtowing to fucking women politicians, or any politician for that matter, are absolutely fucking pathetically wimpy. This is an abomination, and I'm fucking sick and tired of the absolute fucking gimpy arse sniffers that are perpetuating the contents of this fucking abomination. It's no wonder we get metaphors or these types of stories of anger and rage and gods with anger and rage, because I feel that. I would, you know, being, if you had a godly power, I would exert that rage upon these fucking absolute imbeciles, because they deserve it. Institutionalised government pets. Aye. I mean, I think it's like, you know, no offence, you know, well, no offence, religious people are under this guise that they've got this belief that if they behave the correct way, they're, you know, some non-invisible entity is going to reward them and pat them in the back and say, there, well done, you're a special child, and well done. But it's the same with these people that defend, you know, government apologists, right? You've seen these fucking dick sniffers. These people are the very same as the religious people. They're under some illusion that there's a governmental fucking, you know, invisible figurehead that's somehow going to pat them in the back and tell them well done, and oh, you're part of the special crowd now. Oh, they'll just be ditched, same as everybody else. The people, the institutions that these fucking idiots defend, do not give a rat's arse about them. And everybody's making it, you know, fair enough. There are immediate things going on, right, that people should be a bit concerned about. But for me, I think it's been orchestrated for a bigger agenda, you know, and that bigger agenda is going to, you know, entail that people get relief and people get a better way of life. But that's a whole other story. Forget where I was going there. Aye, you know, people trying to drag you into this is the most important thing. These are the most important and immediate things. There is immediate things happening, but again, you have to keep asking the questions: why are these things happening? Why are control measures being put in place? If you're on a ball, if you're on a finite area, if you're within a finite area, there doesn't have to be all this, these games, all this psychological warfare. Make no bones about it, that's what we're living in. Psychological warfare, the war for your attention. And your attention is being directed willingly and unwillingly. Whether you like that or no, that's what's happening here. Right. It's just about control. They don't have to play all this game. Right? If I'm a dictator and I want to be a ruler and I have people and we're in some kind of finite enclosed area, I do not need to waste my fucking time playing psychological games, long-winded fucking psychology games, right? I've got the biggest gun and I'm telling you, I'm ruling this fucking area, and if you step out of line, I'm going to fucking shoot you or round you up or whatever. Because it's not a finite area. It's only a finite area in your mind. This little fuck, this fucking idiotic thing here. There's your finite area. That there. That's your mind prison. That's what subdues you. That's what keeps you going round and round in circles. Right? Trying to make sense of the world. How are you going to make sense of a fucking cartoon that's not real? But that's where you believe you are. That's there to control you psychologically. That's there to tell you that you are imprisoned and that there's no way off. So you better just sit still and accept whatever fucking bullshit there is on offer. That's all that is, a psychological control tool. And also a tool to limit your and restrict your physical movement. So, let me see here. That's this wise thing. Fucking. Aye. Anyway, I hope he's are well and all that. No, does anybody really give a shit? I mean, this is another question. You know, don't get me wrong. I've met some nice people through this, but at the end of the day, do people really give a fuck? You know, it's no sweat off my nose. But ask yourself the question: do you actually give a fuck? Or I'm just a representative of your bias. You see me as some, you know, warrior of globe attacking. I mean, what is the relationship here? What's going on? As I say, none of that really matters to me. I press this button when I feel like it, when I want to prod this idiotic content. And YouTube feels the need to offer me up recommendations of Fight the Flat Earth and Professor Dave. And fucking, who's that clown? I've seen him before. McToon. MC Toon, whatever you like. Another absolutely fucking delusional, incompetent dipshit. These people are not intellectual. Right? If they were real intellectuals and real stand-up men, we would have had this discussion a long time ago. And the discussions may well still be going on. But these are jesters, these are pantomime performers. Clowns who in the real world would never stand up. Ever. Generations of needy, little narcissistic morons who have got a skewed perception of the world and people. Right? Because they sit in basements and in little rooms and play with gadgets, sitting online. But it's very deceptive and very predatory because they know that people are hooked and addicted to this online shit and that people can be influenced. Many times have you heard that? And I'm an influencer. I mean, what gives any of these people the right to be influencing anybody? they've got some skewed perception of themselves that they think they're fucking god figures or something. I'm an influencer. Are you really? What grants you the right to be influencing anybody? Let's have a look at what you're actually influencing. Because people like this, Fight the Flat Earth and Professor Dave, they're influencing people to be fucking idiotically ignorant, while promoting this pompous arrogance of being superior and having a grasp on things. It's akin to, people who study The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. Right? And because they've studied The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe and they can recite everything about Narnia and the characters, right? They somehow think they're no superior. You might be superior within your little fucking story. That doesn't mean that your story's actually objectively true. But these people are that deluded and committed to their own fucking stupidity that they're blind, while they infect other vulnerable individuals. That's how the cult works. The cult never operates on integrity and honesty. The cult operates on the lesser magic, manipulating and influencing through deceptive means to get people to accept and believe whatever bullshit they want to offer you. Anyhow, let's have a look at some of this fucking stupidity, shall we? I'm going to be back on and hug my knee, because I'm not interested in New Year and all that shit. It's just another excuse for people to binge drink. And it's not actually New Year, it's just some arbitrary fucking date. I don't know what people expect's going to happen. Oh, Happy New Year, eh? I knew it. So if you're like me, and you've got some spare time, nothing else happening, I'm going to be here on Hug Mini, and I'll be here for quite a few hours, I would imagine. So, you're fighting against spiritual forces, Del. Well, Joe, I can see that. Again, people are under this misconception of me that I deny anything metaphysical. I do not deny anything metaphysical. I just, want to have a separation of what we're talking about. And I can see that. I can, extrapolate and envision that, this has all been influenced from some metaphysical dimension, and that this is playing out through other influence, and it depends what we mean by that. I can entertain these types of things, but if we go to the transcendence and we talk about God or the prime mover, the one, there is no separation from that. It's not a battle of ultimate destruction and eradication of part of the one. That's an impossibility. It's self-defeating to even entertain that notion. But if we're talking about it as in there's a spiritual battle for control of this particular tech, this particular realm, and fair enough, I can see it from that point of view. But when we start talking about transcending into the one, there is no separation of that. If that's your philosophical position, and it is for me, because anything else other than that is absolutely idiotic, and that it's not about shutting down or eradicating some aspect of the spectrum of the one. But if we talk about it in the sense of, there's a battle for control of this realm, this tech, fair enough, I could see that. But that's about it. So, anyhow, I feel I've got to constantly reiterate that. There's so many religious people involved in this who have a faulty perception of me because of propagandist agents like fucking Russian vids and these other fearmongers who would, you know, are threatened by me, the man, and my content, so they have to make up idiotic lies that I'm, you know, a god denier and a this and a that and another. I'm a very balanced individual. I can talk about any aspect of being and concepts and whatever else. I just have a problem with people who opt for a particular concept or a particular bias and don't have the integrity to accept and admit that there's a separation between direct experiential, you know, living that we have right now and these metaphysical concepts. Right? I do not deny aspects of metaphysics. I just think there has to be a separation. We're here within this realm, world, whatever you want to call it, and what we're equipped with right now is to have the immediate and direct experience of here and now. So it's vastly important that we utilise that is at hand, which is direct here and now immediate experience, and pursue the realm of the physical that we're within, because that's what has to be established. Metaphysics is gymnastics that we could go round and round in circles in forever and ever. As I pointed out in the last video, you've got people who are opting for a particular religious narrative. That religious narrative makes a basic assumption that you are supposed to be where you are and that you are within some finite enclosed area in order for there to be some sort of rule of what's expected of you from a transcendental entity. We're equipped for the here and now. We're in the physical. And it's not just religions that do that. I mean, look at mainstream science. I've pointed this out so many times before. You can see the psychological trickery there. They're getting people involved in subatomic quantum mechanics. Or, you know, galaxies far, far away. The micro and the macro. They've got people in the dichotomy of the micro and the macro. What's relevant and what's important is that we imagine what's at the fundamental basics of all matter. So we've got some mathematical concepts and theories about wee space balls that zip round each other, that make up the material, and we're going to waste everybody's time, resources, money, energy. We're going to waste everybody's time on focusing on this stuff that's non-attainable, because you're never going to get out with the reality that you're a part of in order to comprehend and know exactly what it's comprised of. Right? Same in the macro. You're not going to get outside the reality up there either. So what's it really about? It's about distracting you from the immediate here and now. Outward exploration of what is and discovery of what is at the level that we operate in. We don't operate at subatomic levels or macro spaceball fucking galaxy levels. They're just distractions, psychological mechanisms to think that you're achieving some sort of progress. You're not achieving any progress. Matter is matter. Matter does what matter does. You don't need to go bothering yourself with what's it made of? We space balls. And what use is that to me? None. I say that so many times, you know, you get these people like Professor Dave and Fight the Flat Earth think they're science. And they chastise and they bash, you know, religious people and creation stories, and at the same time they've got the very same shit going on creation stories. Why is a scientific endeavour centred around producing a story of our existence? That's no objective inquiry, that's no objective exploration. That's religious institutions trying to dominate and control people with ideology. Right? And these people are one and the same. Doesn't matter to me whether you fight the fat tits or, you know, some, you know, creation. It doesn't matter to me. The two of them are the same. Delusional idiots. Hell-bent on distracting everybody because they're too apathetic and fucking lazy and don't have the intelligence to stand in clear grounds and declare, I do not know. I shall pursue my physical reality and see what it actually is. It's none of your business. You're never going to know. You know, I use these analogies all the time. You're within, you are an effect. Right? You're within effects, and you are an effect. You are never going to get outside of what gives rise to your reality to comprehend it fully from within. I'm not saying that maybe when you leave here you may have, you know, access to other knowledge and know what the reality is. I'm not denying that, and I'm not advocating for it. I'm just saying I don't know. Right? But from here within it, yeah. Depends what we mean by observations. Anyhow, let me get to some of this. So let's have a look here at this one. These are things that are suggested to me, and I don't know why. Maybe it's because I've clicked on their videos before. So let's start here.
Hi and welcome to another episode of
Do you see that there? Oh, I've already got it on fast play. Let me get back here a wee second. I can't suffer these people at normal speed. I've got to get through it as quick as I can, or I'm going to lose interest very quickly. So we start off. I mean, look at the similarities here. We're starting off. That's a cartoon nonsense. Right? That's a cartoon nonsense. So right away, you see the creation of what I was talking about earlier. They have to create and elevate a straw man so that they've got something to attack, so that they don't have to focus on what they believe in. Right? So nobody ever gets anywhere because there's this divide of two opposing sides at war with each other. Right? That's never going to achieve anything. So, you know, right away you can see that there's an issue here with this guy's intelligence, and you know, destroyer of flat worlds. I mean, destroyer of what flat worlds? What is he talking about? A destroyer of cartoon concepts. How are you going to destroy reality with your idiotic beliefs and attacks on a straw man cartoon? I just don't get you people at all. But you're going to see, as I've already commented to him, the ignorance and the arrogance from these people and their belief that they're somehow super intelligent is absolutely astounding.
20 seconds and counting. Hi and welcome to another episode of Mission Control. My channel has been pretty dead for the last month, and the reason for that is the simple fact that I ran out of stuff to demonstrate.
To demonstrate? Mate, I've looked in your channel. What is it you've got to demonstrate? All that you demonstrate, the same as any other globe believer, is that you recite things from your texts, right? From your cult fucking Bible, right? They use these words like demonstrate. Demonstrate to me means that you have objects in 3 dimensions and substance, and that you can demonstrate the behaviours of these things and their interactions with other substances and objects and yada yada. You know, that's demonstration to me.
There is only so much to say about the heliocentric model, and
he's just told you. You know, he's run out of demonstrations, and his demonstrations, as he's just told you here, is he's run out of things to say. So he's went over his religious text and he's recited his religious text, and now he's a bit fed up because he's fed up reading and spouting the same rubbish. You don't have any practical demonstrations. You don't have anything direct measure. Nothing whatsoever to support this, right? Other than faulty, biased interpretations and use of fallacious reasoning.
And those flat earth fantasies. I never planned on doing regular uploads and...
Those flat earth fantasies. What we're talking about now? So you like to just say this stuff because they think it sounds good. They think if they can just label somebody and misrepresent people or generalising people with misrepresentations that it somehow lends credence to them. That only works in the minds of the stupid. Right? But again, I've said this before, if that's your target audience and that gives you satisfaction is to influence stupid people into believing your absurdities, then you're a very empty, shallow person. Right?
That's not going to change either, but I will try to put out something from time to time. And I hope that you will stay subscribed even though the channel...
Flat earthers are idiots. It's a very mature and adult and scientific approach, isn't it? You know, to come and address people like myself who have been, you know, constantly asking for a bit of integrity, a bit of honesty, and for men and women alike to be objective in their approach and to focus purely on the content that's on offer, rather than this, you know, cult behaviour, propaganda, trying to demonise people and bring hatred towards people, right? Because they don't accept your bullshit. And they've given you good reason for why they don't accept your bullshit, regardless of whether you want to act like they don't, right? Because that's just how delusional you are and how dishonest you are. Right.
Probably won't be as active as before.
Good, because you've got nothing to offer. None of you globe proponents have got anything to offer, particularly online. Right? I have interviewed many people. 99.5% of those people, from academics to the common man in the street, believe these things with no real proper grounds of reasoning to have and maintain that belief. Demonstrated to you over and over again.
Wait, let's get to it. I noticed that flat earthers still argue that the pictures from space are fake because they show different aerial sizes of the land masses.
And this is one of the tricks. This is what they like to couch arguments within this kind of framework. Flat earthers say that the images is CGI and there's no CGI and the land masses and the blah 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 blah. As I put to him in the comment, you're missing the point here, mate. You need to go one step deeper than that. As I asked you, and again I ask every other globe believer, is your standard of accepting something as being objectively true? Do you think it's reasonable to have a position that's seeing two-dimensional images on a screen? Do you think that's justification? That's your rationale? That is your reasoning processes of accepting something to be objectively true as a two-dimensional image on a screen? That's what we should be looking at. No arguing about landmass sizes on my cartoon. But that's where he needs to focus, because he's too fucking stupid to go to the depths that I've just gave him. Is it acceptable for you to have a reasoning process that deems something as true, objectively true, because you've seen it two-dimensionally? No, you know fine well that that is an idiotic position to have and maintain. You're opening up a can of worms. What these people are basically saying is that if I can produce consistent two-dimensional images, people like him are now bound and must accept that the things I present to them are objectively true. You can't cherry pick. You can't just cherry pick it and then use other fallacious reasoning and appeals to consensus and authority. Oh, but there's an institution, because an institution produces it and there's hundreds of people involved in it, so I'm going to appeal to all that to try and give some credence to my fundamental flaw in my own reasoning, which is I accept two-dimensional images on my screen as being a representation of objective truths. Absolute clownery of the highest order.
So let's put this one to rest as well.
So now, just because I know waffles a wee bit here about, you know, oh, look the landmass, look at my cartoon drawing. It's a focal point, because in one picture of my cartoon, the camera is closer, although it's not a camera because that's not actually a photograph, it's just a cartoon. But anyhow, in one picture my camera is closer, and in the other picture my camera is far away. See, dumb flerfer, that's it, done and dusted. My cartoon picture's real, science and logic and stuffs.
To consider the distance and the focal. Here's a demonstration of a camera that is
Here's a demonstration of a cartoon. I mean, these people are so beyond. Right? Here's a this is demonstrations to these people. Cartoons. Computer stuff. This is no real world demonstrations.
Increasing its focal length, all the while the distance is increasing. Look how the continents seem to change size, but it's all about perspective.
Yes, perspective. And what is perspective? Ask a globe believer that. Perspective is a function of what? The real world or your eyes? Watch them run away and dance. Right? Because they can never admit that perspective is a function and a process of the eye, because they need to try and assert to you that perspective's wishy-washy and that it's out there in the real world.
The globe is constantly under attack from the flat earthers, and we have to put up with the most stupid questions and claims.
See, I'm trying to frame it that it's under attack from the flat earthers. I wasn't a flat earther or any misrepresentation straw man label that you want to throw out there. I believed I lived on a globe. I attacked the globe from within without bias, although I desperately wanted it to be true, but I had to fight to be as unbiased as I possibly could be, right? Because doubt was creeping in, and once doubt starts to creep in, there is no doubt. Okay, so you can keep trying to misrepresent and play all this idiotic same old game that's always been from the globe earth fanatics. Right? You're not going to convince anybody fucking that's worthy of convincing, mate. You can keep aiming for low-hanging fruit all you like, son. Maybe you'll get some subscribers and you can try and make a buck by being a charlatan, the same as the rest of your cronies that fight the flat earth and Professor Dave and their ilk. Right? But you're never going to fucking convince me or shift me. Okay, son?
All the time. If this was a trial in court, the prosecutor would look very silly and he would actually be helping the
If we took this to court, right, you can bring your best, right? I guarantee you I would wipe the fucking floor with every single one of you, son, because the globe earth only exists on paper, right? Courts deal with real world events, real world stuff. No fantasy, fucking imagining cartoons, right? You wouldn't have a leg to stand on in court, right? When we get in court, we need actual fucking stuff, objects, things of the real world that can be demonstrated. Your globe wouldn't even get past the fucking desk at the front. You'd be trying to settle out a court with me, son. You'd be trying to wriggle out of it before it even got in front of a judge. I guarantee you that.
Defense.
Your Honor, I object!
And why is that, Mr. Reed?
Because it's devastating to my case!
Overruled.
Good call!
So this one was an easy kill. It's almost cringing. I'm astounded that the flat earthers never make the slightest effort to think things through before.
No, mate. Again, he's aiming his attention to this misrepresentation that's been propagated out there by other fucking cult lunatics of flat earthers, this, that and the other. You don't think, son. I've just highlighted why you don't think, right? And you'll not even address this. I see. You'll not come near that. Right? I'll leave it there for you to read. Right? So it's you that doesn't think because your mind's in the propaganda and attacking propaganda nonsense. Right? I've asked you the question, do you accept an image, right, as being a representation of something that's objectively true? And if so, you're opening up a can of worms, son, because I'm going to throw all sorts of images at you, and by your own fucking faulty reasoning, you're going to have to accept them as being objectively true.
Or making a point. They're unable to learn from their mistakes because they keep making them over and over again.
Listen, I'm not making the mistakes. Use globe proponents have pointed this stuff out to you over and over and over again. You don't learn. You don't want to learn. You're hell-bent on maintaining your little belief system, right? Because you're probably scared. I don't know, it stems from insecurity or something. Fear-based, right? Because you feel the need to try and control. This is what happens to people when they're met by adversity in the world. They jump to this psychology of trying to control everything, to make themselves feel as if they're in control. Right? You're not in control of anything, wee man. Right? It's okay, let go. There's many of us who accept that. Right? You don't need to be scared. You can stand in the grounds of you don't know. You don't have to replace this cartoonery with some other cartoonery, you know that. You know, being objective and being a true investigator of matters of the world, you should be able to maintain a position of saying, well, that's rubbish, that's garbage. So, you know, I can say it's garbage and I don't have to replace it with some other fucking nonsense. I can just proceed to discover and investigate, and maybe you will find what it actually is.
Again, and that is the quintessence of a fool. Some flat earthers
That is the quintessence of a fool. He looked that up in the dictionary before he spouted it.
may not be fools, but they have sold their soul to dogma and they pursue their belief at all costs.
See, this is the switch. You know, they talk about dogma and belief, like people like me have sold my soul to dog. What dogma? I didn't get a book. I never had any handbook or any book or literature involved in any of this process for me. Okay, I took matters into my own hands. I didn't lend myself to, you know, believing other people's narratives or stories or being influenced. I'm a direct realist. I take things on what is practically demonstrable, what I can directly experience. There is no dogma. You're the one promoting dogma. We all learned this in school. That is the dogma. Right? This was pushed to us when we were gullible, you know, children, naive. That's the dogma. They try and hijack it, like people like me have got some dogma, because he's subtly suggesting that the whole thing comes from some sort of religious influence. I've never been religious in my life, so again, they can keep this generalising straw man nonsense up all they like. It doesn't apply to me, and you can keep saying it. It's just going to make you look fucking stupid.
Costs. And they will succeed to some extent, because the world is full of gullible people.
That's right.
But they will only succeed in attracting those with intellectual deficits.
Like you and all your other globe earth cronies with massive intellectual deficits and displaying narcissistic tendencies. Right? That's you. And these dipshits.
In other words, you can't be both an academic and a flat earther.
You can't be an academic and a flat earther because just talking about dogma, because academia is dogma. Right, son? You like to put this out like academia is intellectual honesty and open and objective inquiry at all possible topics. No, it's not. If you go against the grain of whatever the fucking policy is, whatever the you know, what's the word again? Whatever the I can't remember. You know, the policy, the topics of discussion, the subject matters. If you go against any of that stuff, then you don't get the grades. You're ousted. That's been shown over and over and over again. Just because they think academia is the Godhead, that whatever academia says must be true because academia is incorruptible. This is the delusional fucking incompetence and gullibility that he just spoke about. He's actually displaying it for you right now. Where's the dogma that influenced me? Produce it. I can produce the dogma that's influenced you into believing this crap. I've just told you it. You know it to be true because you experienced it the same as I did. That's dogma. Telling children to believe in absurdities based on an image that's presented to them, or a plastic toy representing a globular earth, and then all sorts of waffle, incomprehensible waffle that has no relationship to direct reality whatsoever, and a child is supposed to process that and have an informed, reasoned position. Don't be ridiculous, son. You're an absolute fucking cretin, right? Your content is fucking nonsense. You're spouting nonsense.
So they will really achieve nothing other than bothering everybody else.
You'll achieve nothing other than bothering everybody else. Well, again, I'm going to highlight this. Apparently we're all fringe lunatics, a minority of fringe lunatics. Yet you and your cronies, your ilk, have done nothing but harangue, harass, misrepresent, lie about people like myself for 7 fucking years straight, son. Right? So you're right. I'm going to keep prodding you. I'm going to keep being a pest to people like you because you fucking deserve it. You're asking for it. Yous are the antagonisers. Antagonisers always get the second prize. I guarantee you that. I never came at this trying to antagonise anybody. You Muppets appeared with your inconsistent fucking ridiculous story of a bunch of fringe lunatics are saying that the Earth's not a globe. You're never going to achieve anything. You're not going to affect anything, and yada yada. But yeah, we have to be here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year for years on end to combat a minority of fringe lunatics because they're going to infect the world to believing that it's not a ball. Oh no! How does that have any semblance of fucking rationale at all, son? You're a fucking gimp. Transparent, weak, lick-spittle fanny sacks.
I believe this was another safe landing for the Globe team, so stick around for the next mission.
Globe team, for my cult. Stick around for the next mission where I waffle my utter shite. Fucking dreading having to suffer these next cretins. I need to take 5 minutes. See, the difference is that people should be able to see is that, you know, I can address these things and I can give you specifics and I can give you, you know, the reason, I can highlight the reasoning, I don't need to just come on here with banners saying globe earthers are idiots and misrepresent them and tell lies about them, right? Because I'm not the liar. They're the liars, so they have to use those tools. Right, so as I say, this next one's an hour long. I highly doubt that I'm going to suffer it for an hour. I think I scanned into it for about 5 minutes and some things were said that I think may be relevant. So I'll have a wee look at that. Exactly, Brian, the Emerald Rider, exactly. Yeah, one thing they all seem to have in common is hiding from objective reasoning. Because they can't be objective in their reasoning, they have to be deceitful and wormy and squirmy with their reasoning, because their reasoning is absolutely fucking pathetic. totally pathetic. Pictures. My pictures. Right, are we going to go on with this? Let me see here.
Do sound a bit stuffed up, and my nose is bright red.
I won't call you out on that. You certainly haven't had any spirits to cause your nose to be red.
So how are you feeling after yesterday with both the painful truth and Kyle Adams?
Oh, the painful truth was painful for him. I painted him in a corner a few times. He had no way out. So
yeah, that's always fun. Right.
Look at how gleeful they are. Right, about antagonising somebody and putting them in a corner, and they're that up their own fucking arse. This is their narcissism and patting each other in the back. This is Professor Dave involving himself with this fucking nonsense. The reason he's involving himself is because he's the exact same as them. A narcissistic, deluded, incompetent, lying little shit stain. Evident in his fucking content. And evident as we're about to hear the waffle and utter shite that comes out of his fucking pipe hole.
Dave, Professor Dave, thank you very much for joining. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me.
No worries. It's an absolute honour to have you on the channel.
He's all giddy and excited because he thinks he's going to get more views because Professor Dave's on and he's got gazillions of subscribers, so I might get some subscribers. And I can delude myself into thinking I'm some sort of relevant person in the world. What a fucking mong, Craig. You're a fucking disgrace, son. Right? I've had this boy on before and he squirmed and wriggled because he would not accept that there's an issue with the floor rising to the centre of the field of view, would not accept that there's a geometry to vision, wriggled and squirmed and danced. And what happened to that video? Oh, whoopsie, YouTube removed it.
What you did to Flat Earth made my job a lot easier, frankly.
Listen, what you did to Flat Earth. What are we talking about? What flat earth are we talking about, Craig? A straw man, again, displaying his intellectual capacity of a stand-up man, a man of science, a man of reason, a man of logic. Let's poke fun at a straw man where we divert the attention away from our own idiotic cult bias. Well done, Craig. 4.5 gold stars for you, son. Get the missus to stick it on the fridge and you can feel all proud of yourself when you get up in the morning.
So many times I just have to pull up parts of one of your videos to debunk what they say. So you've made my job extremely easy.
Happy to do it.
What are you doing on your channel at the moment? I've seen you're focusing a bit more on biology.
Dave's up his own arse as well. Dave really thinks he's a fucking... This is what academia has done to people like Dave. Gave him this false sense of certainty and deluded him into thinking that he's a fucking intellectual. Right? And again, maybe Dave has intelligence in other aspects in his life, but when it comes to reasoning and matters of objective inquiry, Dave's a buffoon. Same as these two fucking clowns here. Right? Dave, I invite Dave. I would love somebody like Professor Dave to engage somebody like me. But he'll know, he'll sit away, far away, in wee echo chambers, patting each other in the back, handing out gold stars for how incompetent and stupid they are.
And stuff.
A lot of things. Zoology, psychology, economics, a little more physics, a little more chemistry.
Zoology. Billions of years ago, this stuff happened. And the reasons I know is because bias interpretations. So I know about billions of years ago, in life, billions of years ago and all that stuff because I'm magic. Because academia has deluded me into thinking that I've got a fucking time travelling machine, right? And I can look at wee rocks and say that wee rock shape's 4.5 billion years old and it was a wee thing with legs and it crawled out the gutter. Dave, you complete and utter spastic, son.
Mystery, yeah, I'm trying to keep
Fucking
it
massively embarrassing.
real nice and broad.
I do enjoy popping over to your channel. I always feel smarter when I come away.
Craig, you would feel smarter walking away from a fucking Peppa Pig cartoon, son. Right? That's how fucking dumb you are. Right?
It's always nice. So the reason I wanted to get you on today is to talk about what you know about gravity and your understanding of gravity, because mainly there's been some flat earthers taking your quotes and trying to use it to kind of debunk gravity in a way. So in one of the videos that you were doing, you said...
Listen to the use of words, trying to debunk gravity. Now, we remember, people, gravity, for all intent and purposes, is the observation from our reference frame of the way in which objects fall. Right, so you've got that narrative, right, of trying to extrapolate a reason to explain the way in which objects appear to fall to us, right, within the reference frame, and then you've got like orbital mechanics of planetoids and the gravity at that level, how planetoids spin round each other and are attracted to each other, and all that's fucking gibberish, right? Gravity to us right now is the way in which objects appear. We word it that they fall. Right? We'll get to that. So remember, that's what we're talking about. It's a whole other topic of discussion. It has got absolutely nothing to do with what the shape of the Earth is, how we establish the shape of the Earth, how we gain direct measure, or how we have any form of practical demonstration in regards to the Earth and its contents whatsoever. Right? This is the aspects of science, academia. Right? Well, they wander away from what actually is, just the physical matter and its behaviours, and then they start trying to invoke explanations. Right? And their explanations are given from making assumptions and then interpreting things from an assumption. So it's like a big circular reasoning that goes on with these people. Right? Gravity, the way in which objects fall, totally separate topic from establishing the dimensions, the shape, the topography of what we stand upon.
Said it's an indisputable fact that you can't have an acceleration without a force, which we know in classical Newtonian mechanics is absolutely true, right?
That's right. Mm-hmm. And Craig and other globe believers, a force is pressure variance. One thing presses upon another thing to induce what we call acceleration or motion. That's what force is. Okay? That's Newtonian mechanics. That's direct reality mechanics. That's practical mechanics. Demonstrable. We can demonstrate that. Levers. One thing presses on another thing. Whether you reduce the pressure within a medium, you're going to have a flow of some kind, because when you mess with pressure, you get motion trying to establish an equilibrium. So we can talk about it in liquids, we can talk about it in fluids, gases, right? Gases and liquids are both fluids. That's how they describe them.
So they are then trying to say, well, as Einstein described gravity as the curvature of space-time, there is no force. Therefore, you can't have an acceleration. And they're using your words of...
Yes, you can't. You must have, just like I said. Right? It's like if we envision it like, you know, here's an envisioned, you know, 3 dimensions of, you know, gravity and what I was talking about. So let me see. Let me get a better one, right? So just as I was talking about, if you create a lower pressure within a stable equilibrium, right, you're going to have an outward push to establish the equilibrium again. So you have an accelerative force, that being the other surrounding stuff pushing inwards towards that area of lower pressure, right? So if we invoke that, you know, lend them that this is a representation of the universe, the fabric of the universe, right? And now we've got a mass in here, an object that displaces it, right? What is it that's pushing? What is it that's pushing inwards now? What is the mechanism that's creating this pushy inwards flow directionality? Huh? Black holes and things and stuff, you know, gravitons from far, far, far away, you know, this fucking gobbledygook. Nothing that we can relate to. I try harder than these people by using real world practical examples to try and convey to you the mathematical gibberish that they don't even fully comprehend. And if they did have a better comprehension, they would be utilising ways to explain it in the way I am. Right? So, the fabric of the universe, we can look at that as, say, water. Right? And now we've got an object within that medium. Now there's a displacement. Now we know that there's a pressure and inward push everywhere because the water's now trying to fill that space. Right? Or we can use it with air. When you turn your vacuum on and you use levers, Newtonian mechanics, to create motion, force, you create a lower pressure area, and the higher pressure surrounding it pushes inwards. I don't even get thanks for these fucking morons for helping them.
Of you have to have a force and acceleration to try and push a conflict between Newtonian and Einsteinian gravity.
What a sad game of semantics.
Yeah.
You know,
it's not really a game of semantics, because in Newtonian mechanics we know, as I've just displayed for you and explained to you, you need a mechanism. You need leverage. What is it that's levering? What is it that's given a vector, that's given a directionality of flow? Right? So just saying that you're bending space-time, a non-entity, non-physical, imaginary, mathematical gibberish that you're warping and bending, what's the mechanism that's creating the flow, the motion? Because we utilise it within this reference frame. We've not established what the whole reference frame is and its motions, right? But we're within a system now where things have established. So when we displace water or we displace air or matter, something else moves in to fill that space, right? That's within this reference frame. They're talking about space-time out there in outer space, right? And a different reference frame, but still try to utilise the mechanics of how things behave within this reference frame to explain their mathematical gibberish of non-entities, that being space-time. Space has no properties. Time has no properties. Right? What are you talking about?
Look, these are just words. You know, we can call it an apparent force. I think an appropriate term for gravity is an apparent force. But the point is that their stance is that gravity doesn't exist. So arguing about
I've yet to meet anybody, right? Call them flat earthers, whatever you like. I have yet to meet any of these people that deny. Because remember what I said at the beginning here. When we're talking about gravity, we're talking about the way in which objects fall. I've yet to meet anybody that denies that objects appear to fall. That appearance is that when you let something go, or you take something up high and you let it go, that it moves down towards the earth. Right? It's not been established whether that object is actually moving towards the earth or whether the earth's moving towards it. Again, we can look at Einstein's equivalence principle, where these things were talked about, and how there would be no difference from being in a uniform gravitational field or being in an accelerating reference frame. Us, as the experiencers within the reference frame, would not be able to tell the difference. But as I've pointed out before, only one of those propositions is demonstrable in a practical fashion. That being, the reference frame is the one that moves. So as I've said before, we can just take the whole gravitational mathematics of falling, right, and we can invert it, and it works the exact fucking same. It's the earth that moves. When you take an object, hold it in your hand and let it go, the object remains stationary, because you and the reference frame are moving towards the object. The mathematics is the exact fucking same. So where are you going to go now, Dave? Fight the fat tits, McToon clown. Where are you going to go with that? Huh? What are you wasting everybody's time for? Talking about falling in reference to the shape of the earth. Why are you not separating them? Do you not have the intellectual capacity to realise that it's a separate topic? Huh? You're that fucking stupid. Probably.
What we're going to call gravity, it's if they say it doesn't exist, what is the point of this this game that they're trying to play, right?
Objects appearing to fall towards the earth as a reality. So this is it. They're so weak that they know that they have to spend time on this nonsense. Right? Oh, they deny it. No. I don't deny that things appear to fall. So who are you talking to, Dave? Who are you talking to, Dave? Huh? There's a fantasy world of flat earthers that you have all created for yourselves, so that you can all feel good while milking money from people. 49,000 subscribers. I wonder how much that dipshit's raking in by fucking abusing the very people that are making him the money. This is what's so annoying about people like him. A little fucking snaky shit stain. He's not even got the fucking decency, common decency, to treat the people that he makes money from with fucking respect. Because he's a fucking little predatory cult charlatan. Abusing people while making money off them. That he's actually dependent on these people for him to have an income and to have a platform to spew his fucking nonsense out there into the world. You and these fucking people are fucking lower than a snake's belly. Right? Scum of the fucking earth, as far as I'm concerned. You've got absolutely no fucking, scruples. You've got no common decency.
Okay, so gravity is the curvature of space-time, and the curvature of space-time produces an acceleration. Okay, whatever.
Gravity is a curvature of space-time, eh? What's space-time, dick sniffer? What are you talking about? Mathematical fucking nonsense. Bring me 4 jars of space-time right now, fuckle. That's right, you cannot, because you're part of a fucking massive religious cult spewing fucking doctrine at people with arrogance and pomposity, trying to assert that it's somehow real.
Cares? They're trying to use physics.
These fucks need to be held accountable. Every fucking one of them should be held accountable. I'm holding you to account, fuckle. As long as you fucking know there's people like me out there.
Disprove physics?
Yeah, exactly.
But disproving physics.
Whatever. They're trying to use physics to disprove physics.
What do you mean by physics? Physics to me is real world stuff. Demonstration, direct measure. Reality. The physics that these people talk about is mathematical physics. Conceptual physics. Imagination physics.
Exactly.
Whatever. They got to say something, right? They got to find their little things that they say every day on their dumb little streams. So, okay, I get.
No specifics. Just calling people dumb and whatever. Well, you're the fucking dummy. Alright, son? You're the dummy. You're a fucking dwarf to me, son. Intellectually. You've not got a fucking leg to stand on. None of these cunts have. None. I'll eat and shite every single one of these morons and they know it.
Yeah, they're like, oh, we found what we perceive to be an inconsistency. All right, well, gravity exists. Sorry. Things accelerate due to gravity. Gravity exists. So.
Oh, circular reasoning and just say it things accelerate due to gravity. Where's the mechanisms of this stuff? Where's your demonstrations, son? Where's your bendy space-time stuff? Huh? The arrogance, as I said. Sitting there all smug. That you're looking at what delusional people look like. This is the depths of delusion. Right? Woeful participants in their own fucking delusions because their ego rules them. Because they think they've got stature in the world. And because the world has rewarded them. Right? that somehow gives credence to the shit that they spew out their fucking gums. That doesn't wash with me, I'm afraid. I don't bow to any authority. Fuck you. You're fuck all. None of you fucks are anything. Right?
I don't know what I.
And if you've got a mass that accelerates, F equals ma, you have a force. What they keep saying to me is, oh, well, you're just calculating a force into existence.
Nah, we can.
Yeah. It's exactly what they're doing. They keep telling you that it's accelerating. No, it's not. I'm telling you, I'm going to make the assertion just the same as you are, right? And say that it's decelerating. It already was in motion. And when I let it go, it now loses that momentum. Right? Conservation of momentum and all that, lads, And now it's losing that momentum as the reference frame catches up to it. Mathematics work out the exact fucking same. What are you going to do with that? Oh dear. Cry some tears. Cry some spherical tears.
We can measure it. I mean, it's these things are measurable.
And
I mean, look, furthermore,
it's measurable. But what are you measuring? Measuring what? Define what you mean by measuring. Again, you're starting from an assumption and then interpreting things to fit that assumption. Your assumption is that you're on a ball Earth and that there's a non-entity called gravity warping and bending a space-time gibberish. And then you observe an object, as you say, falling towards the Earth, and then you interpret that to fit your presupposition. You're a clown. An absolute fucking clown.
These are just paradigms. I mean, you have a Newtonian paradigm, you have an Einsteinian paradigm. Later we might find a graviton. And
so that's what I'm talking about, paradigms, Newtonian and Einsteinian paradigm. Because the Einsteinian stuff only exists on paper, mate.
And then gravity will be, we'll have a quantum field theory for gravity, and then it'll be
quantum field theory. Back to quantity, right? Quantity of what? What stuff are we talking about when we talk about quantity? What is a field? What are you talking about? What is a field? Can you define it? Can you display what a field is? I'm not talking about a field as in where the cows eat their grass. That's not what you're talking about. You're talking about an imaginary land. Something that encompasses as an invisible non-entity. Right, that you think that you can just invoke. That people used to call the ether. But academia, you're not allowed to talk about ether. But we'll call it field. Field theories. Stuff like that,
a field force again, and
field force.
These are just words,
It's just
that's right. They're just words.
Describing it, right? And Newton described it in a lot less accurate way than Einstein, and that's
sure.
All it is.
Because Newton was focused on the actual reality and physics, right? So obviously he's not going to describe mathematical concepts in a more accurate way than Einstein, because Einstein was a mathematician, right? Focused on abstract mathematical gibberish.
He got the math down for what he was able to observe, which was remarkable. And then Einstein, gave it another level. But I mean, in the end, we can observe that things accelerate towards the ground. Okay, let's talk.
There's an assertion. Prove to me that it accelerates. How are you going to achieve that, Dave? Without getting into your circular reasoning and your presumptive bias. How are you going to achieve that, Dave? I've just obliterated you, son. Absolutely exposed you dipshits. how are you ever going to resolve that? Run away? Act like you don't know I'm here? You never heard it? Is that it?
Talk about it. Let's talk about this phenomenon, and let's make up words to describe it and make up.
Dave, let's talk about it. Let's have that chat, Dave. I invite Professor Dave to have a reasoned discussion on these matters. I would absolutely love that, Dave. But Dave won't leave the little echo chambers. Dave would shit his wee Superman pants. Dave's going to act like he's too big. I don't even know who that beyond the imaginary curve is. I'm too big for all that. Right, Dave. Right, son.
got models to describe it and make predictions using these models, right? And that will complexify over time. But things accelerate towards the ground. There's a phenomenon that causes.
You interpret that the things are accelerating towards the ground, Dave. I'm getting fed up with you now, son. I'm going to give you another couple of minutes because I'm fucking getting bored to tears with our shit.
That, and so all of I know that they do their whole. It's really astounding that they continue to do their like density buoyancy bullshit.
See, cherry picking, right? This is what they do. They just hone in on certain factions, certain people who will make these types of assertions, right? And think because they can highlight flaws in that reasoning that somehow theirs is true now. Come and speak to me, Dave. I'm not going to tell you that it's density and buoyancy, son. Right? I'm going to use practical demonstration and show you that it's motion that causes it. Okay? I can demonstrate that, Dave. Physics. Real world, demonstrable physics. I can use all sorts to demonstrate it to you. You're not going to be able to demonstrate warping and bending space-time to me, are you, sir? Nope.
Yeah, at the moment it's relative density disequilibrium. It is the phrase they're using.
Yeah. Well, then things should fall up, and they don't fall up, so you're wrong.
Well, they have a formula. Did you see the
formula?
They have a formula.
This is the problem, because there's a directionality, and this is where flat earthers and these people are losing sight yet. There is directionality. And directionality should be the focus of your attention. Right? Because the appearance of objects falling is an opposite and equal reaction to something. Right? And if we go to motion, if we go to mechanics of motion, we can display how that's the case. Right? If something moves in one direction, there's going to be an opposite to that. Everybody experiences this continually on a daily basis. It's right in front of us. But propaganda has told you that you're not allowed to go there. That the possibility of a moving reference frame, or the possibility of a top-down flow of some kind of something, you can invoke that, but you can't talk about the movement of a reference frame. Although the heliocentrists have got a reference frame that moves in all sorts of directions. But if you try and talk about uniform motion, that's not allowed. The reason it's not allowed is because they're shit scared of it. Because it can be backed by practical demonstration and observation. That's just a fact. I don't give a fuck. People out there that don't like it. Tough. I could not give a fuck how you've been influenced by propaganda into asserting that I'm not allowed to say uniform motion is a possibility. No way. People will assert that's the disinformation. It's not the disinformation. If you're still one of these people that keep saying that the possibility of a uniformly moving reference frame is disinformation, you're part of the fucking problem. You're not an honest inquirer. Right? You're influenced by propaganda, and now you're gatekeeping.
Trying to do math now?
It's just a kinematics. It's kinematics formula where they plug in 9.81 meters per second squared.
Yeah, I think Rachie called it that's the density disequilibrium rate of acceleration or something.
Yeah.
So
I
just
wonder how he
replacing
derived
gravity. Well, you can't derive it. That's the thing. You can have the formula that works because you're just replacing words basically. Like they're using the formula.
Can't be asked with them anymore. I'm fed up. I'm bored of them. Fucking bored of them. And I can only tolerate prodding them for fucking 5-10 minutes. Now I'm fed up. I don't want to listen to them anymore. Constant same circular reasoning, basing things on assumptions that they never address. They never go to their base root assumptions. They will avoid and evade any discussion about their base assumptions. I need to put my jumper on. It's starting to get chilly in here. I think I need another log in the fucking fire. Aye, it's the same old shit. FPV Angel. Same old shit. I mean, you know, I'll show you these videos quick. Let me just see. I've shown this type of thing before.
Hi, Mike.
So guys like Dave, right? This is what they want to talk about. This is what I was talking about earlier about how they use demonstrations within our reference frame, right? To try and sustain these idiotic conceptual notions about the warping and bending of spacey time stuffs and all that, right?
My name is Eddie, and I'd like to show you a little bit of a demonstration.
It's always goofy buffoons, right, that are so invested in their nonsense, and they've been patted on the back and given reward for this nonsense, which, you know, galvanises them even further into believing the pish that they're spewing out. So we're using actual, you know, within the reference frame and how things are established here within the reference frame, using real matter materials, and then trying to somehow superimpose this over a conceptual notion of the warping and bending of space-time. Non-entities. Non-entities. Time's non-entity, and space is not an entity either. Right? Space is attributes, right, that we talk about, like the space between objects. Right? There's a distance between objects. This is how we word it. These are attributes, right? But space itself is no a thing, like a substance that you can, you know, prod and look at.
Demonstration about gravity. So, first off, let me show you what I am talking about. There is a picture of the Earth going around the sun. And people have known for a long time that the Earth goes around the sun, but they didn't know why that was. And so what I'm going to try to do right now is create that same image two different ways of...
So he's telling you he's going to try and create that image, right?
A planet going around the sun. What happens up on the screen is the reality. That's what you see in space.
No, we don't. That's not the reality, mate. That's a fucking cartoon on a TV screen, a two-dimensional fucking cartoon. What are you talking about?
What happens over here is sort of like the behind the scenes, like in The Wizard of Oz.
Look, this is somebody trying to fucking, you know, wrap children's wee minds into cult nonsense. With all these gestures and this, and butter wouldn't melt my mouth type of fucking attitude. And I'm goofy and I'm fun, therefore accept my fucking pish.
This is like behind the curtains. This is not what you would see if you were to look into space. That's the only thing that you see is the motions. So, let me show you a couple ways to do that. Here is the first way.
Wait, I get my bag of toys out.
First of all, I need a star. Star goes in there.
A star's now a ball, by the way. A solid ball. I don't know how they established that, but anyhow.
And here was Sir Isaac Newton's way of making a planet go around the star. Ball on a string, swinging round and round.
Because Isaac Newton was probably conflicted in himself, because Isaac Newton knew fine well how reality actually functioned. So Isaac Newton was now trying to use levers and attachments, you know, direct contact between physical objects and physical matter influencing each other to try and fucking, you know, establish, you know, how this imaginary nonsense was actually fucking functioning, right?
You look up at the screen, you can see that it looks just like a...
That's you applying force to something tethered, right? Making it go round and round and round. There's a lever mechanism here, you know. That's no what Einstein and these people are rattling on about, right? What are they going to assert that new, as I asked earlier, what's the mechanism for making things move once the space-time's been warped? Is it an invisible god hand that's pushing wee balls round and round and round? I mean, what the fuck are they talking about?
Planet going around a star. And the reason is because I've got this string over here. They're connected. That's what Isaac Newton called gravity.
Why did Isaac Newton knew fucking fine well, as I just said, that there has to be a contact of some kind. There has to be a mechanism. Right?
Say that because watch what happens if I let go of the string. It sort of flies off
and this
space.
Is all under the assumption that we'll get space balls that zip and run other space balls. Right? Again, none of that's been established either.
So why is it that the Earth does not fly off into space? Why is it?
Maybe because it's no space balls suspended in a fucking vacuum, you complete and utter tit. But you've not got the capacity to go there. You're just going to keep playing with the same fucking tools. And 2 + 2 = 6. Right? That's where you are. 2 + 2 = 5. And I'm going to keep bashing my head off the wall until everybody accepts that 2 + 2 is 5. Maybe the problem is that it's not a space ball in a fucking vacuum, son. That's why it doesn't make any fucking sense and you can't demonstrate any in a practical fashion. Maybe that's the problem here.
The Earth keeps on going around the sun. According to Isaac Newton, it's because of some connection between the star and the planet, which he called gravity.
Aye, because again, that's what reality dictates. If we've got motion of that kind, there has to be a tethering. One thing must be tethered to another, and there must be a leverage, there must be a mechanism that's creating the motion. As he's just displayed, it's him using the mechanisms of the push system through the muscular structure, right, and the tendons to mechanically lever that into motion.
Problem is, you couldn't see that. There is no really a rope over there. There's nothing that you can like feel or smell.
See how quickly we've just left reality. Oh, you can't see it. Can't taste it, touch it, smell it, perceive it in any way, shape or form. But it's real. Believe me, because I've got toys.
Or see or anything. So he just imagined that there must be some sort of connection, or else how else could you get that if there were no connection? For hundreds of years, people looked for that connection, couldn't find it. And then Einstein came along. And Einstein said...
The reason they couldn't find the connection is because the whole model is stupid. Right? Space testicles suspended in vacuums, spinning and gyrating and going round in circles with each other is fucking absurd. That's why you can't establish a direct connection. Right? Because the model's wrong. Sorry.
You know, the only reality is what's up on that screen. The only reality is a planet going around a star. Is there another way that I can get that same image? So this was his mental way of...
I was telling you, is this a way I can get this image? This was his mental way, but we're talking about mental gymnastics here, right? Are trying to make a conceptual model fit reality. This is what they do. They have a conceptual model and they try and bastardise reality into fitting their model. This is how they come up with all this gibberish.
Doing it. He said that there's an extra dimension.
Oh, there's extra dimensions now. You can't talk about ether, but it's fair game for these dipshits to evoke extra dimensions. More non-entities.
Get over here, an extra dimension.
That's not an extra dimension, mate. That's some actual material. That's a three-dimensional matter. That's not an extra dimension, mate. What are you talking about?
You don't actually see if you were to look up into space. And that...
Unicorns and leprechauns zipping about space on fucking skidoos, right? But you can't see them. You can't see them. But they're there. The reason we know they're there is because planetoids are zipping about and stuff. So therefore, leprechauns on skidoos are real, but they're invisible. You can't see them, can't taste them, smell them, touch them in any way, shape or form. But they're there. That's what this clown is saying to you.
Extra dimension is curved. And if I were to roll a ball...
So the extra dimension is now some sort of physical substance that's curved. right? But again, we can't access that physical stuff.
Around that curved space-time, if you were to look out in space up there on the screen,
Oh,
it
look
looks
at me,
like
Manish!
a planet going around a star.
Aye, and let it go. What happens? What happens, mate?
But it's not because
Oh,
they're
better stop it before it actually collides with the other one.
connected with a string. It's because of this curvature over here. And as a matter of fact, the only thing that this ball knows about is the part of the plastic that it actually rolls over. And so
He's talking about the ball knows stuff, and this should be fucking hurting your brain because it is so absurd, man. Right? The gymnastics that these cretins go through is fucking unbelievable, honestly. I just can't stomach it anymore. I'm fucking done. I'm fucking done with that level of fucking stupidity. Honestly, it's bizarre. Whatever mission control, that dipshit mission control that I highlighted earlier, can you see this? Look at him. No, I've already switched this. I'm very pleased that you want to do a piece on me. Let me know when. I can't promise that I'll join you live. That depends on a couple of things. The ignorance, arrogance, stupidity and silliness is all on you. But as we all know, idiots don't know they are idiots, so of course you may feel it's the other way round. No, you are a fucking idiot. Mission control. I've highlighted it. Rewind. You're a buffoon. And you don't know you're a buffoon, which makes it even worse. I've got another one here, Frank O'Brien. Who is the liar, except the one denying that Jesus is the Christ? This is the Antichrist, the one denying the Father and Son. That's how I know where I am, and that's how I know who I am against. This must be a Russian vid's fucking clown. I don't know anything about your Jesuses and all that, mate. Right? It's irrelevant to me. It's up to you to highlight it to me why it's relevant. Right? I'm telling you it's a subject of preference. If you want to believe in Jesus Christ and all that stuff, that's up to you. That's your private affairs. Don't come and tell me objectively that I have to accept it and that it's fucking true, son. Right? That, you're not even addressing the question that I was put to you in the video. No, you specifically, in general. Right? I'm fucking done with books. Oh, God said in my book, you have to behave like this. I'm not interested in any of that. You away, babe?
Yeah.
Aye. See you soon.
What?
See you soon.
Yeah.
You going to the gym tomorrow?
Yeah.
Right. See you there. I'm done with the fucking mental gymnastics of trying to establish what this place is and what it's about by people reading fucking books. It doesn't make any sense to me. Each to their own. You carry on. Right? I'm no any antichrist or whatever. Intrepid Dreams, that's very true, and as I say, I'm not arguing with them. I'm not here to argue with anybody. I'm just highlighting their fucking dishonesty. And again, I'm not just here hand wave dismissing and he's just an idiot, he's an idiot. I'm giving them specifics. I'm addressing the actual depths of their content that they don't want to engage in, but yet they'll sit there with smugness, a certainty, everybody that they've got a grasp. They don't even comprehend it. Dunning-Kruger is the term I would apply to these people. They are the poster children of Dunning-Kruger. They think because they can perceive mathematical concepts, right, and comprehend mathematical concepts, they think that that means that it's real. As I say, it's just akin to, you know, somebody who studies Narnia and knows all the intricacies and details of Narnia and its characters. Just because they comprehend it doesn't mean to say that Narnia and the characters are true, regardless of how much gusto they apply when they're telling you. Aye, Brian, he is still making music. I've not seen anything for a wee while, but I know that he's still active. Anyhow, let's see. There was another one, but I can't really be bothered. The real source of gravity might surprise you. I don't know if anybody's ever seen this buffoon. This guy here. Right? More waffle of non-entities, bendy stuff and things that don't actually exist. But I can't be bothered, as I say, I've had enough of them. So, anyhow, I say, I only hope that you know, people can make some realisations. Don't be intimidated by these buffoons. They don't even fully comprehend the stuff that they defend. People like me go to the depths because I want to comprehend, right? So that I'm versed in it. Because as I say, I'm curious and I'm inquiring about my reality. So I'm not scared to go to what they're offering. Right? But you apply the Socratic method and you ask questions of what it is they're actually offering, and when you get to the root of it, it's based on nothing. Absolutely fuck all. Space-time. What is space-time? Ask yourself that. Where can you get some space-time? Matthew Scargood, but no one can deny that everything in this world is of perfect design and codependent to a degree. And that's fair enough to say that, if that's the way you interpret it. But just because something's, you know, that's like me saying to you, well, the AK-47 was designed to perfection or whatever, but, you know, it's been used to fucking abuse and kill and slaughter people. It's the very same with this reality. Just because there's design to it. This is the problem I get with religious believers and stuff, that they've got this bias towards trying to, it's like Stockholm Syndrome, they're trying to reason with this place, it being in the hands of some, you know, morally good deity. And I'm looking about going, I mean, how the fuck would you ever come to this position of, you know, saying to yourself, oh, this thing that created this is fucking some morally good, you know, benevolent fucking being? I mean, how the fuck, through the observation and your experience of this place, do you arrive there? The reason you're arriving there is because you're suffering from Stockholm Syndrome. If you don't know what Stockholm Syndrome is, I suggest that you go and check it out, because I see the religious people as suffering massively from Stockholm Syndrome. They continually try and couch this whole fucking existence into some god that's benevolent, and that there's a separation of this one god that's dividing itself up into you're good and you're bad, and I'm going to keep the goodies here and the baddies here so that I can sit and go, I mean, what the fuck is going on in your mind? But you get the cheek to come here and tell me that I'm this, that and the other. I'm an antichrist and I'm anti-God and I'm anti-this. No! Reason with me at the level of experience. How the fuck are you going to reason with me and tell me that this abomination is in the hands of some fucking morally fucking just, benevolent God guy, get fucked. Get to fuck. Fuck all the way off. And when you get there, fuck off a wee bit further. There's a want about people like you, and I don't want to fucking catch it. It gets right in my fucking tits. That's God pish. We can see design. Don't deny it. It's designed, it's a construct of some kind. That's where it ends. Don't start telling me you know who and what created it and for what fucking purpose, because you're just a delusional cunt. Particularly when I'm looking about going, nah, everything devours everything else in order to sustain it. That's not a fucking lovey-dovey wonderful creation as far as I'm concerned. It's a fucking abomination. That's not directed at Matthew Scattergood there. I'm talking in general to these people that bring that shite to me. Again, you know, as beyond belief, saying I'm more Jesus than any of these people. Well, I agree, because I get it. Right? I am no attached to this fucking thing whatsoever. Could not give a fuck about it. The only thing I give a fuck about is the other sentience that I value. That's what's important to me. No, this fucking material, shitey shithole that you want to run about professing as a wonderful fucking gift and all this shite. It's fucking no. It's absurd. It's an abomination. And something is seriously fucking wrong with this shit. So don't tell me benevolent God and all that shite. So you should, Matthew. So you should. Triggered me. Without religion, you have no base for morality. Exactly. Especially if you want to assert it as an objective fact. I choose to be the way I am. In fact, I don't even know if I choose to be the way I am. Maybe that's just what my essence is. Maybe the information that is me is what it is. I don't know. But I totally agree. People that want to assert morality as some form of objective truth require something that transcends this. This is how people are trying to make sense of this abomination. This is why you can't connect a metaphysical nonsense to this abomination, because it just doesn't work. Something's wrong with that whole theory. So I would be very cautious people telling you to value and attach to this material fucking realm, whatever the fuck it is. I get sense of morality through self-reflection, through an active participation in making a choice. Well, I don't like that. Well, I maybe refrain from putting that out there into the world, because if I don't like it, chances are they're not going to like it. Plus, I don't really get any satisfaction out of behaving or partaking in these types of activities. Therefore, I choose not to do them. I didn't get that from a Bible. I didn't get that from any literature. I get that through direct living, direct experience, interaction of what is, and the reflections, what came back to me. And then I went through a process of reflecting and contemplating and making a decision. agree, Brian. Anyhow, where are we? Have you got anything to say? Anything that you would like to say? Put it in the chat box and I'll read it out. I'm going to be here for another 5 minutes and then I'm off. As I say, I'll be back on Hogmanay. Oh, New Year and all that. Happy New Year. Happy new arbitrary fucking date and an arbitrary calendar that means diddly squat. And that's it, I'll just be, if God's got it all figured out, then God put me here too then. God made me say everything I'm saying. So, how does that fit? Why are people coming here and trying to change me? If you believe it's your God that knows it all and has a plan for everything, then surely I'm part of that plan. So who are you to be so arrogant that you think you can come along and fuck up God's great plan and tell me I should be something different from what I actually am? Nice one, Matthew. It's nice to see that you don't take that personally. As I say, I just use sometimes things that are put in the chat box to extrapolate on a wider, audience and opinions of people and mantras and things that people say, and I appreciate it for that. It's not in any way, shape or form I direct at you as an individual. It just gives me the opportunity to have a rant on things that piss me off. I think anger's a fucking tool that should be embraced. For me, there's righteous anger, and anything that tries to deem itself an authority over me or impose any form of authority or absurdity upon me, I will meet it with fucking great vengeance and furious anger. Steal that from a movie. But that's how I feel about it. Anything that tries to impose itself as some form of authority on me, it just instantly fucking gets me fired. And I think it should be embraced. Because if you don't try and impose any form of authority on me, then there's never any reason for that to come to the surface. Right? But it's natural in me that when authority tries to deem itself an authority or impose on me, that's the natural reaction that comes. So I'm going to embrace it, and I'm going to utilise that, because that's an energy, that's a power for me. And I think a lot more people, the world's been turned into a weepy fucking soggy mess of acceptance, and you've been told that anger's a negative. People that are angry are negative. Anger should be eradicated, right? Because it's a threat to dipshits that want to impose their authority on you, right? Because they know it's the natural mechanism. Just like if I came to your house right now and bust through your front door and tried to fucking take over your house and bully and intimidate you, you're going to have an adverse reaction to that, a natural reaction, and so you fucking should. And you should embrace it. Doesn't mean to say that you're a lunatic out there causing chaos in the world because you're angry, the way that the media and the propaganda would like to portray it. Anger is a very, very useful, natural tool and a signal for you that something's not right. So don't run away from your anger. Harness it and apply it to where it's relevant. There's a difference between righteous and conscious anger to mindless, impulsive, confused anger, which I have had in my life through my years of depression, dealing with anxiety and trying to process the shit that was going on in my mind. There was a frustrated anger, there was an unhealthy anger, an erratic, irrational anger that I suffered with. So I've seen it from both sides, and I know the difference. Now I harness that anger, that energy, and I'm going to spit venom at anything that tries to impose itself on me. overseas and hug my knee. Get your party hat on and your balloons, right? And we'll just binge drink and then fight each other and start the arbitrary new year on the right foot of fucking burst lips and stabbings. Just like always. I look forward to it. Can't wait. See you then.